Hi, video people. Audio people have already been listening to us talk, but Lamarr is here today. Hey, Lamarr.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I've got a wire coming out of my head.
Well, I do too. You can see it.
Yeah.
It's really irritating.
Does yours supply the answers? Like my...
No, it does not.
What to think?
It does not. Hopefully, it will at one point. Hey, I have a new backdrop.
Ooh, look at you!
And I have better lighting. I look
Did you get rid of the green screen?
I did. The green screen is gone. I've always lived here.
Yes. Lamarr hasn't moved.
Of course not.
All right, you ready to do a show?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Here we go.
A minuscule portion of the Daily Tech News Show was brought to you by me, because I went to patreon.com/acedetect and donated $1 a month to a podcast that I really enjoy. Won't you join me?
This is the Daily Tech News for May 20th, 2014. I'm Tom Merritt. Joining me today, Lamarr Wilson, host of YouTube Weekly and Socially Awkward on Mashable. Good to have you back, Lamarr.
Thank you so much, Tom. Good to be here.
Have you prepared yourself to surface some new topics?
Oh, I see what you did there.
That's a pun on the Microsoft Surface.
That was clever.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get some headlines. Microsoft announced the Surface Pro 3 tablet today, emphasizing, let me be clear, it's only 9.1 millimeters thick and 800 grams heavy. It also has a redesigned kickstand hinge that can hold almost any position up to a 150-degree angle. It's also bigger than previous Surfaces with a 12-inch screen and a 2160 by 1440 resolution with a 3:2 aspect ratio. The new Surface Pro comes with a new stylus as well as the fact that it is powered and connects by Bluetooth. It's also made by a different company. Microsoft also showed off a new type cover, too, with a redesigned trackpad and a sturdier magnetic attachment. New keyboard is $130, and 5 models of the Surface Pro 3 range from $800 for the one with a Core i3 processor, 64GB hard drive, and 4 gigs of RAM, up to $1,950 for a tablet with a Core i7 with 512GB hard drive and 8GB of RAM. Pre-orders open tomorrow, May 21st. Retail availability begins on June 20th in the United States and comes to 26 additional markets by the end of August.
But does it come in pretty red?
Oh, well,
yeah.
I didn't see the type cover colors.
See, if they don't come in pretty red, I don't want it. I'm going to keep my other Windows one, yeah.
Better dead than red. Wait. No.
That's a new saying. I'm taking it.
Only red, or I consider Microsoft dead, is what you're saying.
That's the title.
Our top story from the subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com, submitted by Captain Kipper, is about China's Central Government Procurement Center issuing a ban on installing Windows 8 on Chinese government computers as part of a notice on the use of energy-saving products. Kind of an odd place for that to be. Reuters reports that China's Xinhua news agency reported the ban was to ensure computer security after Microsoft ended support for Windows XP. Windows 7, however, is apparently still being installed, according to Microsoft, which expressed some surprise at the notice. Could be retaliation for the pushing off of XP, could be retaliation against the U.S. government for their recent accusations, could be a typo. I don't know. We'll have to see. U.S. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler testified before the U.S. House Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Communications and Technology on Tuesday. The FCC has been using Section 706 of the Telecommunications Act to justify its role in preserving what they call the virtuous cycle between users searching for free-flowing information and companies investing in better networks. Wheeler told the House committee, quote, if there is something that interferes with that virtuous cycle, which I believe paid prioritization does, then we can move against it. So coming out flat against paid prioritization, at least in this interview. He also spoke regarding Netflix's complaints about paid peering. Wheeler said that is something the FCC needs to look at and will be looking at. CNET reports Google has introduced Google Plus Stories and Movies to the G Plus social network. The feature automatically curates your photos and videos into so-called stories. Features especially designed for things like vacations to make a little travelogue for you. Users will find it on the desktop version of Google Plus under the Photos section. Features coming to Android apps later this week and iOS to follow soon.
And here we thought Google Plus was going to die, and it just keeps kicking. It won't go anywhere.
It keeps kicking you in the face.
Exactly. You have to use our service. No,
I mean, it's a nifty feature, right?
It's a nifty feature. I think the iPhone has something similar where they categorize things into events. You take enough pictures at a certain event, it'll geotag and say, "Hey, you were in Bermuda. Here are your pictures." So I think this is a good thing. I really wish they would have come up with a kind of an Instagram killer or Instagram competitor like this as a single app. That's what I've really been looking for from Google, and they haven't got to that point yet. That's what I really want to see.
Yeah. I wish Yahoo would come out. Oh, right, Flickr.
Nope.
Dan Rayburn at streamingmedia.com reports Apple is negotiating paid interconnection deals with some of the largest ISPs in the United States in order to improve delivery of cloud-based services. Things like iTunes Match, any of the iCloud stuff would benefit from this. Apple joins Microsoft, Google, Facebook, Pandora, eBay, and other content owners who have created their own CDN-like delivery networks. Skype announced an update to its Xbox One app, finally enabling the Snap experience. Essentially, that means you could play a video game on the large part of the screen while still conducting a Skype video call at the same time on the smaller part of the screen. Previously, you could only snap apps into Skype. Now you can do the reverse and snap Skype into other apps. Lamarr, you seem pretty excited about this.
I am, because I've been trying to do this the whole time. I thought I was stupid and not doing this right.
Why doesn't it work?
Yeah. So my friend sent this to me today, and jokingly, of course, they're like, "Hey, now that new Titanfall that you wanted to do,"
that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Of course, it's gonna happen. But no, yeah. I personally would not be doing that because I'm a good person, sort of.
Well, I don't know if I would say maybe there's a demand for it. I don't know. That would be Twitch, though. Not
that would be Twitch. We should talk about that at some point.
It's the show pitch idea right there. That's right. Time for some news from you. These are things submitted on our subreddit, dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. We've got a good couple thousand folks in there. Thank you for your participation. If you haven't checked it out, get in there and do some voting at the very least. You can submit links, as lots of people do, or you can just vote them up or vote them down. Techie Noobs submitted a Russia Today article that California is attempting to limit what the NSA can do in its state. A bill in the California state legislature would require the federal government to get a warrant if it expects to have any cooperation from California state officials in searching residents' cell phone and computer records. The bill passed the California Senate on Monday with only one opposing vote. Oh. Similar bills have been introduced in 8 states.
Go California.
I'm a little skeptical how much this means, because it only means that the state officials won't help. And if you're a federal agent going to a cell phone company to get records, I mean, what does the state official do? Hold the door for you? I don't know.
Yeah, they're going to get them anyway, right? Because the federal does trump the state. So,
but it's
a nice gesture.
There you go.
Yeah.
Metal Freak sent in the HelpNet security report that May is already a record month for Trojans targeting the Linux operating system, according to researchers at antivirus maker Dr. Web. Different variants of 3 Trojans seem to have been created by one entity. Mostly they carry out denial of service attacks. I'm going to look at this as another sign of Linux's popularity. Right,
and Mac still sits there just untouched. No, that's not true.
No, but, actually, Mac has got its own problems. Yeah,
yeah. But no. Actually, if you start having Trojans hit you, well, in this case, I want to be clear. Then yeah, that's popularity for sure. I never thought Linux would ever have any kind of malware.
You're like, it finally got its day.
Finally.
Hey, Linux has had malware for a while, but this is a record month, so
yeah, absolutely.
On the rise, which, in all seriousness, is not a good thing for anybody. But SP Sheridan sent in the CNET story that officials from 19 countries joined forces to stop 100 alleged hackers associated with malware known as BlackShades. Officials searched 359 houses, confiscated more than 1,100 data storage devices, along with your typical The Wire type stuff like cash, firearms, and drugs. BlackShades is a remote access tool giving attackers control over a target's computer. The FBI, in particular, here in the United States, unsealed an indictment on Monday against 2 men it's claiming developed BlackShades, Swedish national Alex Usai and U.S. citizen Michael Hogue.
That used to be my username back in the day, BlackShades.
BlackShades, really?
No.
Man, it's a good thing to change that, or there'd be confusion.
There would be FBI at my door right now.
You'd have the FBI knocking down. And that's a look at the headlines. Hey, folks, I just want to mention that one of the other shows I do, Sword and Laser, Science Fiction and Fantasy Book Club, has put out its anthology We've collected 20 amazing stories from brand new writers in our audience in the Sword and Laser book. 10 science fiction, 10 fantasy, hence the sword and the laser, with an introduction by author Patrick Rothfuss. So check it out. Swordandlaser.com/store if you're interested. You can get ebook versions and print versions, and there's more formats coming. If you don't see your preferred format, the Kindle one's been submitted. I'm not sure. It'll pop up automatically once it gets approved. But swordandlaser.com/store. Thanks for your support there.
I'm going to get that. That'll be the one purchase I will want to get in book form. I think that'll have more value.
It's kind of nice to have it in print.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I mean, it's kind of nice for me because we make more money off the print version. But but even beside that, I like the thickness of the book. It's 20 stories. It's a good 380 pages. I think 360 something like that.
I'll be picking it up.
It is cheaper than a Surface Pro 3 too.
Yeah, exactly. Actually, anything is. God, these prices.
Yeah. $799 for a 64 gig, 4 gig Surface Pro. And remember, the difference between the Pro and the RT is not only the Intel processor, but the fact that it's the real version of Windows 8. So you can install anything you could install on a Windows 8 computer on this, unlike Windows RT, where you have to have a program specifically made for RT because it has the ARM processor. You have a Surface RT, right?
I do have a Surface RT, Nokia 2520. And I got to say, I really have grown to really like it. Before, and I definitely want to talk about the Surface Pro, but I never really saw the need for the Pro because as a tablet, I don't want to do Adobe Premiere or Photoshop on here. I like to use it as a tablet. But it's very intriguing, this idea of having everything in the same type of package.
They made a big deal in this event today about this is the tablet that can be both a tablet and a laptop.
Right.
Do you feel like, from what you've seen, and obviously neither one of us have got a chance to touch it yet, but from what they showed off, does it feel like it can fulfill on that promise?
Well, yeah, I think this is going to be, they're positioning this always, I think, as a laptop killer. They never really tried to attack the iPad market, even though they did attack iPads, which is kind of silly. But yeah, I think this could be a very, very good laptop replacement and a pretty good tablet. And I say pretty good because they're still ramping up their apps, even though the apps are great on there. Just getting the public perception that it's a good tablet. I gotta say, Tom, I was really thinking right about a month or two ago about this project I was going to do, and I said, I have all Mac things now, and I used to have all PCs. Like, if I went all back to PC, back to Windows 8, what would it look like? Would I have maybe a Windows desktop? I was thinking of getting a Surface Pro or an RT as a laptop/tablet, 2-in-1. And the only thing that kept me from wanting to do it was Windows Phone at the time was like, But I have been using a Windows Phone lately as my second phone, and this is Nokia Icon, and it's pretty good. Like I actually have every app that I want. So the idea of doing everything on Microsoft is not as trialsome or as burdensome as it was maybe a year ago or even 6 months ago. This looks like this could really be the 2-in-1 device that business people or people like us who do various type of things in the media are looking for. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm not sure they've nailed what they wanted to nail, but this is an interesting Ultrabook replacement.
Yeah.
In fact, I think one of the better takes on this comes from Kevin Toffel over at GigaOM, where he said he wrote his article on the Surface Pro 3 that they gave him at the event. Mm-hmm. He said it felt just as good as writing on his Chromebook, which is what he usually takes to events like these. So he's like, they've definitely made it feel more like a laptop. It can do all of the powerful things that Windows does with multiple windows on screen and everything. And he was very positive about it in that respect. And he was using a Core i5. I'm not sure which amount of RAM he had in there, but it wasn't the base model, which is just a Core i3 processor. Mm-hmm. Nevertheless, he said, I'm not sure how much of a tablet replacement it's going to make. He's like, I still feel like I would want maybe a 7-inch or an 8-inch tablet, maybe a smaller tablet, but something even a little lighter than this. And this thing's only 800 grams. That's just a few pounds. They made a big deal about the fact that it's lighter than a MacBook Air. But that seemed to be what they were saying is, instead of getting a MacBook Air, instead of getting an Ultrabook, get this, because it can also be a tablet. But my reaction is the same thing. Like, I could see that replacing. I use a Linux Mint Zarizen as my ultralight laptop when I don't want to carry around the bigger, fully functional laptop. I could see this possibly being a replacement for that, but I'll be honest, I don't find a need to use that as much. There's so many times where I'm like, well, basically, if I don't need everything from a laptop, I'll just have a tablet with me. And if I need more than a tablet can give me, I just want to have everything. You know, I want to have a terabyte hard drive, and I want to have 16 gig of RAM in there. I don't know if that's just the way I work, though.
Do you think the problem is, like say for instance, this came out pre-iPad or pre-tablets in general? Do you think it will be a much better idea in our head? You think that we've kind of got spoiled on the idea of the tablet, so this is kind of like, I'm not sure what to do with this?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Obviously, if this came out in 2007, it would be revolutionary, right?
Right.
Everyone would say, oh, Microsoft finally cracked tablets.
Right.
At the same time, though, 12 inches, I feel like, is too big for a tablet. It's perfect for a laptop replacement that can be it's almost like it's a convertible, right? It's something that you can use as a tablet sometimes when you need to, but it's too big for the things that I think of as tablet specific. That said, I think they did a really good job here. It's a little expensive though, and I'm a spec hog, so I want 512 gigabytes. I want 8 gigabytes of RAM. But even the cheapest 8 gigabyte of RAM is $12.99, and that's definitely a laptop price.
Yeah, I'm just thinking for the entrepreneur or small business user who just needs one computer, one system, and he has a smartphone. And I just think this could be that thing. He uses as a desktop/laptop. When he needs to run to another room or something, he takes it apart of the computer. Now it's a tablet. And I didn't see what the service was doing a year ago because the software was crap. But now that the 8.1 is out, it seems to be a better value. It might be something I want to try. I'm not saying I will replace my my 27-inch iMac, even though the dock does allow you to do 4K, right? It does allow you to hook up to a matter of fact.
Docking station is $200, but it has that Thunderbolt type, adapter. Yeah, Thunderbolt adapter.
It's an interesting concept now. Now that the software is better, now that the specs are together, I'm curious. I'm going to pick one up. I'm curious to see if it's something I can use full time, especially since I do video editing. A lot of it now that this is just a pro. Would it be able to handle that? That would be interesting to see.
Because you're definitely going to need that top level. You're going to want that Core i7, and you're definitely going to need the 8 gigabytes of RAM. That might not even be enough.
It might for Windows. 1949. That is a steep price to ask for.
Yeah.
I mean, but their argument is that, hey, you're getting 201. Don't complain.
But that's the same pitch as Lenovo makes with all its convertibles and the Yogas and stuff like that, and they're not that expensive, I don't think.
Yeah,
could be wrong about that.
Are you gonna pick one up, or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
However, I want to say that if you are the kind of person who says an ultralight laptop is my go-to device, I want an ultralight laptop, an ultra portable laptop,
right?
Then this is worth looking into, especially if the specs at $799. If all you need is a Core i3 and 64 gigs of storage, there is an SD card slot. There's a USB for external storage. If you can work with that, then I think you've got a compelling product. When you get to the upper levels of the specs, though, it starts to get a little pricey, I think.
So are you?
And don't forget, you spend $130 for the keyboard for the type cover.
Right.
That's extra.
Are you liking Windows 8, or is that what's kind of holding you back?
I actually am fine with Windows 8. I don't have any problem with that. Once you get into the desktop, it works just as well as Windows 7, as far as I can tell. There's a few annoyances here and there, but there have always been Windows annoyances from one version to another. So that is not anything that holds me back. I'm not a big fan of the tiled interface and the tablet-y interface.
Oh, okay.
Because that's not what I want to use it for. Know. But that said, no, I don't think that's the thing that's holding me back.
All right, cool.
Hey, real quickly before we get out of the discussion section, I wanted to get your impression on this rumor that Google is going to have YouTube buy Twitch, the online video game streaming platform.
Do you
think it's actually going to happen? I mean, it was reported by Variety on Sunday as imminent, and then the Wall Street Journal immediately came out and said, man, if our sources say the deal is far from happening. Do you want this to happen? Do you think it's going to happen?
Yeah, as somebody who's on YouTube, and I did cover this on Mashable, I love this idea, and I'll tell you why. And not to be redundant, you did cover this a little bit and on Core Killers as well. I think Twitch is the missing piece of YouTube. YouTube is the #1 platform. The biggest problem that I've had as a user is, first of all, not knowing, should I use Google Plus Hangouts for Live? Should I use YouTube Live? And when I use YouTube Live, it's crap. And then when I use Hangouts, it doesn't always work as well. And it doesn't get the notifications out. There's a problem with YouTube and Live that they haven't really figured out yet. And I think taking a live streaming solution that a lot of YouTubers go to because they just want to stream their video games. A lot of them use, so you have a lot of the same audience there, and to bring them together, and Twitch is, as you said, and one of the things is running out of storage space. I mean, they're great, but they're running out of capacity. Google has Google has that capacity, and I think it's a marriage made in heaven. I think, as one of the articles mentioned, I don't know if it was GigaOM or it might have been TechCrunch, how they can avoid ruining Twitch is to leave it alone in the sense. I mean, you can integrate it into the YouTube platform, but please don't Google Plusify it. I think that's the worry. And there's also concern with copyright. People play their own music behind the scenes, and I think some of that stuff can be cleaned up. But as far as the core idea of Twitch on Google, that's a bargain at $1 billion. I mean, that's an Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you had to place your bets, how likely do you think it is to happen now?
I think this is 100% going to happen. I think we'll have an announcement at Google I/O.
Ah, you think that's where it's headed?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if Twitch backs off now with all of the press. I don't know. I'm curious. Apparently, some reports said that they were looking at Microsoft and a few other places as possible somebody to acquire them. So if they really want to be acquired, I think YouTube makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, Yahoo, with them trying to wrap up their stuff, would have been a great company. I don't know if they have $1 billion sitting around, but they would have been interesting too. Go.
Hey, breaking news. Jenny just let us know about this. Remember all the way back to yesterday when we had the reports that Twitter was looking to buy SoundCloud?
Yeah.
According to The Verge, it appears that deal is dead, at least for now. Wall Street Journal reporting that Twitter was indeed interested in purchasing SoundCloud, but backed out of the talks because the numbers didn't add up. SoundCloud had been negotiating with Twitter under a period of exclusivity, but now it sounds like the company's free to talk to anybody.
No, I think what happened is because you reported on it and broke the story, they were like, okay, forget it.
But I didn't break the story. I just passed along.
Yeah, but you're so popular that you killed. So we might have just killed the Twitch deal.
No. Really? Now I feel bad.
Yeah.
We're
killers.
Kill anybody's deal. We're deal killers. We're going to change the name of the show.
That's a new show, yeah.
All right. Checking the calendar. Tomorrow, Wednesday, May 21st, HBO shows arrive on Amazon Prime.
Ooh.
It makes Amazon the only streaming service with HBO shows that doesn't require a subscription to the pay cable service. You can get it with HBO Go. You can buy episodes and download them, but not stream them except on Amazon. The deal includes access to every episode of The Sopranos, The Wire, Deadwood, 6 Feet Under, Rome, Eastbound and Down, Enlightened, and Flight of the Conchords, plus select early seasons of Boardwalk Empire, True Blood, and Treme. No True Detective on there, and no Game of Thrones from what we can tell. Also, this is U.S. only at the moment.
That's pretty awesome. That's a good value, for not being on HBO exclusively.
Yeah, and just you don't have to pay extra. You're an Amazon Prime subscriber. Those older shows are going to show up.
Never seen The Sopranos.
Tomorrow, I'm
Okay.
usually loath to admit that because I get assaulted by people.
Uh-oh.
Tomorrow marks the state of the first annual Solid Conference in San Francisco. This is put on by the O'Reilly folks. It's a conference about the coming fusion of hardware that were once strictly mechanical, things like light switches, fusing with software-only stuff. One example they give is a light switch in something like Second Life. So you could turn on the light switch in Second Life, and a real light switch in the real world would come on. It's the Internet of Things on steroids, essentially. So also on May 21st in Bloomfield, Colorado is GlueCon, which you also might think is about the fusing of solid objects, but it's really a developers conference.
So they won't be sniffing glue there.
I don't know if they will or not, but it's not the purpose of the conference.
Okay.
It may be a sidelight. I hope not.
I hope so, actually. Oh, no. Yeah, kids. No, don't do that.
Our pick of the day comes from Rich in lovely Cleveland, and it's also a longtime favorite of our producer, Jenny. Rich says, I had one pick of the day I wanted to share, Arts and Letters Daily. It's a great place to go for really intriguing long-form content, essays, book reviews, op-eds in general. I've long had an RSS feed for most of my more literate sources, but I enjoy the curation the site provides. While I don't read every post they put up, in general, I want to, says Rich. The site could use a design overhaul, he says. It's barely better than a mediocre GeoCities site, but the content is excellent, and I recommend anyone that enjoys a good essay to check it out. So it's ALDAILY, ALDaily.com. Thanks for the pick, Rich. That's great. And you can get all of our picks at dailytechnewsshow.com/picks. Couple messages from folks before we get out of here. Miguel in Santa Barbara has a thought about the AT&T DirecTV impending merger. I was listening to the May 19th episode of DTNS, and you and I, as we're talking about the AT&T DirecTV merger, and a thought occurred to me. Could AT&T use the DirecTV spectrum/infrastructure to expand their LTE, similar to what LightSquared attempted to do a few years ago? I'm curious if that is a contributing factor to the purchase of DirecTV.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money to do that.
Yeah, that would definitely not cover the $48 billion.
Right.
But it's an intriguing thought that I hadn't probably adequately considered. If anybody doesn't remember, LightSquared owned a portion of the spectrum near GPS that they were going to use to beam LTE service across the United States and portions of North America. They ended up having to give it up because folks in the GPS band complained there was interference. If they were to retire DirecTV someday, theoretically, AT&T could do something like that. I don't know if that's exactly what AT&T ends up doing, but Miguel brings up a good point, which is AT&T gets all of the spectrum that DirecTV has the rights to in that satellite band that they use to beam down. And right now they're using it for television, but as things evolve and AT&T has said they want to launch an internet TV service, that's valuable property to have.
Yeah, if they can convert, what is it, 20 million DirecTV subscribers,
like
if they can convert those over to internet TV in, 5 years or less, it's something to think about, definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. It would take a few years, obviously, you're right. But I could see that happening where they free up that spectrum for other uses, and then they can provide some kind of supplemental wireless use. I'm not sure AT&T is a company I'd rather that be in the hands of. They tend to move very slowly on things like that. But interesting thought. Thanks, Miguel. Good email. Jason from Rochester has a question about Time Warner Comcast merger, Time Warner Cable Comcast merger. He says, hi, Tom. In case you didn't see, the state of New York, he says, in case you didn't see, the state of New York is looking into the Comcast Time Warner Cable merger. I was wondering if you knew what the implications of this mean. In particular, if the state doesn't allow the merger to occur, would that completely negate the merger even if the federal regulators allow it? Or would Time Warner Cable still have to be their own company in New York? And he's got an article from The Verge talking about Governor Cuomo saying that they are going to investigate this. States investigate mergers all the time. They generally tend to go along with what the federal regulators say, but there was a really good story over on WWNYTV.com that mentioned that they've changed the law in New York about the Public Services Commission. Previously, the Public Service Commission was required to grant approval for a merger unless it could find that the transaction was not in the public interest, which set the bar kind of high. The government had to prove this isn't going to help the public. Under the new law, the burden shifts to the utility in question, in this case the cable company, to demonstrate that the transaction is in the public interest. So they've shifted the burden of proof. Comcast has to prove to the state of New York, our merger will be in the public interest. And I would like folks in the audience who are like mergers and acquisitions lawyers to write in and clarify this. But I believe that if New York said, no, this merger can't go through, that could kill the merger.
So one state will have that much power to do that.
And the point being that it's Time Warner Cable is got headquarters in Manhattan, so they're a New York company.
Gotcha. Okay.
I don't think what Jason suggests, where they create a separate company in New York, would happen. It might be able to. Again, lawyers, let me know if this is right, but I doubt they would want that to happen, because one of the goals of Comcast in buying Time Warner Cable is to get access to the New York market.
Interesting. All right. Well, this is something to think about. Yeah. Anybody? I'm not a lawyer anymore, but
Were you a lawyer? Yeah.
In my own mind, I know. I love law. I just didn't go to school for it.
I love following the law, Lamarr. I'm not sure if I can speak for everyone.
I do obey it sometimes.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Well, no, that was another great email. Thank you, Jason. Folks, if you got emails, send them to us, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And that wraps us up. We're done. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. If you want to find out a little bit more about Lamarr's take on the YouTube Twitch possibility, check out his show, YouTube Weekly.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's on Mashable. Great company.
Mashable.com. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. And where do they find your work in general?
My work in general, you can basically go to youtube.com/Lamarr Wilson, and that'll have links to everything I do on Mashable, everything I do on my personal channels. And if you go to LamarrWilson.com, I just released it yesterday, a little site that has all my social links and a very pretty picture of me.
Oh,
so, yeah,
fantastic!
Yeah, check that out.
I have not seen any other kind of picture of you, Lamarr.
I mean, there isn't. It's either gorgeous or nothing.
Yeah. Or you're like a vampire. You just don't show up. Hey, no, seriously, thanks, man. It was great talking to you today, as usual.
Yeah, same to you, man.
And thanks to all our patrons out there, patreon.com/acedetect or bit.ly/helpdtns. 3,970 folks who saw some value in the show we do and are giving a little value back. We really appreciate each and every one of you for showing faith in the show and keeping us going. It's the reason we're still doing it.
30 away. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say that?
Okay.
What were you going to say?
Awesome. No, I said 30 away, man. That's from
30 away from 4,000. I know.
Yeah,
right?
that's so awesome, man. You got a great audience, man.
The best audience in the world. You guys are the best. Don't forget, you can have a voice in what stories we cover at our website. Our subreddit is dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. Submit some stories. Get in there and take a look. Our email address, once again, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. We have a voicemail box if you want to call, 512-59-DAILY. That's 512-593-2459. You can listen to the show live at mobile.alphageekradio.com and visit our website, dailytechnewsshow.com, for all the links. We'll be back tomorrow with Josh Ong, U.S. editor at The Next Web, as our guest. See you then.
Visit frogpants.com. Audio program so good, it's like you're there.
Booyah. Well done.
Very, very good show.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Next time has somebody better on than me, though.
Oh, please. You stop that.
No, this is great. Yeah, not that much news today, but the Microsoft stuff is just huge. Like I'm gonna pick one up. I don't know if I'm gonna get the 1949 one. I don't know if I have that much laying around.
I'm tempted, but I just not 100% sure what I would use it for.
I mean, you're out $2,500 to walking out. Type cover, docket station.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of money if you're not sure about something.
Yeah, maybe I'll go to Best Buy and play with it while it's there.
Or go to Century City. They have a Microsoft store.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting about that. I wonder why no one goes there. Every time I go past, they look at me like, please come in, please.
I ran into a listener there one time.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, I was popping in to look at the Xbox One stuff at one point right before release. They were having there was a situation where I walked past and they were doing some event, and it was at one time I walked past, it was an Xbox event and they had a crowd, and the other time it was a Surface event and they were like, would you like to come in? And I was like, no, I can't.
We will literally pay you. We will give you a service. Just come.
I was like, yeah.
Poor guys. And then you go around the corner to the Apple store, and just for no reason, people are milling around, hanging.
You know, I used to go in the Apple store just to look at what was the latest thing, but I don't find myself doing that much anymore.
I don't either, because I already either have the latest thing or I know about it, and so I don't mill around anymore. And
also, it's not like there was that run there where it's like, ooh, the iPhone, the very first iPhone. Oh, and now the iPad. Oh, the MacBook Air. It's been a while since there's been something like that was totally brand new.
Are you looking to get a Mac Pro? I have been thinking about it.
No.
But I've been lightly thinking about it. I don't know yet.
If you do video editing, it's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
I have an up to date iMac, but I'm still having, and I think it's Apple's Final Cut software, but I'm still having like problems with it, like pausing on me, and I have enough RAM in here completely. I have 32 gigs of RAM in it, so it's either their software or something on the computer. But
what's the processor?
I have the Core 7. I have the fastest one.
Yeah, well, that should be fine.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but it's frustrating.
Video card? What's a video card? Did you say that already?
It's whatever the highest one is. Yeah. I don't know the specs. Yeah, it is separate, but I don't want to spend $6,000 to just say, hey, I have an editing box that works.
Right. Well, and I actually think Windows machines are a better value even for video editing these days than that.
Yeah, I mean, I need to learn Premiere, and then I could use it on both platforms.
Right.
I just don't like Premiere, but I'm gonna have to just grin and bear it.
I use Doghouse Systems, Windows 8 on Doghouse Systems for my desktop.
Doghouse. Oh, Doghouse System is that company that sponsors.
Yeah, they make video game machines, but it's also just like really powerful desktop machines. So I use it for both. They'd be good for editing.
Would you like a title?
No.
I'm just about ready for a title. How did you know?
Lamarr, it's okay. You don't have to have a title.
Yeah, I'm good. I stick solo.
Give me a second. Let me find the beginning.
I'll just be named the Lamarr. That's fine.
The Lamarr.
Yeah.
The artist formerly known as Lamarr.
I always think I'm leaving plenty of silence, and then it's not as much as I thought when I try to find it. All right, titles. What do you got?
All right, we got options. The one that is probably the one I like is A New Tablet Surfaces from Toby Pinder.
My only problem there is I wonder if I've used that before.
Right. Tom Gerke work. This is The Outlier. Better Dead Than Red. Probably a little too. And then there was one which was all caps MSST2K, as in Microsoft Surface Tablet 2000, which is, I guess, a Mystery Science Theater 3000 reference, which is pretty good. So those are the ones that came in so far. I'm not necessarily sure there are a lot of others. I could take a look.
My Surface Pro kills the laptop. No, that's generic.
I wonder if there's a way to make a new tablet Surfaces more particular.
And a tablet shall rise. Come on, Lamarr.
I know. I do this every day for my own videos. Like, what's the title? And that's why no one watches, because the titles are so bad. Let's see. We didn't talk about the stylus at all. So
the Surface gets deep.
How about 800 grams heavy?
Beneath the surface.
Beneath the surface, yeah. Is beyond the surface.
Beyond the surface. The only reason I don't want to do MST2K Beatmaster is because we did a weird acronym yesterday, so I'm trying to avoid 2 days in a row.
How about skimming the surface?
Or Google Plusing the surface?
Skimming the surface. Skipping the surface. I like skimming the surface.
Yeah.
I am useless.
That's all anybody got to do, right? Because they got to play with it for 15 minutes. So
it is literally,
except those special people who got to keep one.
Joanna.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Well, when you become part of the thing, I guess you get to hang out with one for a while.
Well, they all got one afterwards too.
Yeah. If you really need a title, you're desperate. You could be like naked on Skype, but I mean that will attract a lot of different kind of audience.
Yeah.
It's really good for our SEO unless we get blocked.
Right.
Could backfire. Naked on Skype. I feel like I've used that title before too.
I actually hope you haven't.
Someone, Cord Killer 16900 had resurfaced.
Oh.
Too late?
Oh no, it's not too late either. I like that.
Yeah, so capital Re and then surfaced, capital S.
I was just about to
that's
say
brilliant. Well done, anonymous person. You're smart.
Had I known there was a chat, I would have gone in and say hi.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry.
Lamarr.
I should have reminded you.
Well, tell them I said hi. Hi.
Hi. Lamarr says hi. Well, you're telling them now.
Yeah, I'm telling them now.
All right, I'm exporting.
Exporting.
Covering the surface. That's literally what we did.
Yeah.
Darkroom.
Unless you want to cover it up where no one else sees it, because it's not worth selling.
Buffing the surface.
Oh wow, we are getting all the actions one can do upon the surface.
Well, because you buffed it up with new specs too.
Buffy the Vampire Surface.
Buffy the Surface Slayer.
I don't know.
Exporting.
Twerking the surface.
Thankfully,
Oh boy.
Oh, I wanted to talk a little more about Panash's presentation, but then I don't think it would have been as good until you watch it. But
yeah.
he was both like the best they've ever had, and sometimes the weirdest. The whole Joanna Stern stuff was weird, but then there are other parts where he totally did the opposite of what most of these guys do, where they over dramatize the presentation.
Right.
Like when he introduced the Surface, he was like, da 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 da, and here it is, the Surface. And I was like, wow, that actually worked really well, because I was ready for some like overly done, drum roll please sort of thing, and he just popped it in front of me, and that was more exciting in some ways.
Awesome. Yeah, if it's on YouTube, I definitely will try to see it today.
I'm at Microsoft. I'll have it up too.
I'm sorry, I will only use YouTube per my contract.
And you're like my wife. All right, posting it now.
Can't look at Daily Motion.
I caught her watching Vimeo the other day.
Ooh. Now the world knows.
And turn her in.
Yeah, it's
competitive
funny.
analysis. It's competitive analysis.
I don't think this is saying too much, but plenty of YouTube creators I have found out will use Vimeo to preview stuff, because you can put more security on the stream.
Right. I have seen that, or a lot of those who are filmmakers will use Vimeo for more of that stuff. I'm surprised no one has ever talked about buying Vimeo.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen rumors about people wanting to buy Vimeo, but never a YouTube or a Microsoft or anybody like that.
I think it would cost so much money.
You think
Maybe.
so?
Like buying, yeah.
Because Apple is very, very cozy with them now.
I would see a studio buying Vimeo.
Yes, because it's so beautiful. Like their video is so gorgeous, and they have curated such a particular type of audience that you have to have the right. It's like you couldn't just have anyone buy them, or else there would sort of be like creator uproar.
Somebody didn't buy them recently, did they?
No. We would have talked about it endlessly.
Yeah, we would have talked about it on Cord Gauge.
Apple could surprise us at WWDC.
Apple would be the right type of brand Venn diagram, I think.
Yeah, because they want to un-Googlefy themselves. So, now they're cozy again with Google, so you never know. They may put
IAC Interactive Corp. Hold on.
So IFC owns them?
IAC?
Who?
Let's look.
Is it the Barry Diller IAC?
Yeah, IAC. I'm reading. Oh, as part IAC Interactive Corp purchased Vimeo in August 2006 as part of its acquisition of Connected Ventures. Yeah, it's still, so I guess it's still sort of, so it would be up to IAC to sell it.
I think we should do the show again, because Mashable just said there was no Surface Mini because Microsoft already lost on tablets. What? So we should do the show again and talk about that.
Oh, we should have mentioned the fact that they didn't do a Mini. even though nobody expected them to.
Yeah, I don't think anybody cares.
Metal Freak says Google owns 10% of Vimeo. Maybe that's what's kicking around in my head.
Really?
About an acquisition is somebody investing in them.
Mm-hmm.
Google gave them money. Okay.
All right. I'm checking the post to make sure, but I think everything's published, Janny.
I'm going to do some show notage.
All right.
Some notage.
Yep, everything's good. I'm out of the post
Okay.
now. All right.
Resurfaced.
Done.
Well played.
I hope tomorrow this doesn't get canceled because it was mentioned on your Showtime. You know, because everything.
The Surface gets canceled. We've changed our mind. You can't pre-order it after all.
Yeah. Thanks, DTNS.
Yeah. Bringer of doom. We have become DTNS.
We're gonna be the new Obama.
Destroyer of products.
Yes.
All right. Saying goodbye to the video, folks. Thanks for watching, everybody.